back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, Wife Wants a Trial Separation, but may have been cheating for years. Financial lies, gaslighting, and now I found the underwear. And a shout out to Jared for sending this story. And guys, this story is about a guy. This is a husband and father, married for like 6 years now, and this guy's been pushed way too far. This guy is now going to the mattresses. He's going to war. Why? Well, let's start. The last couple of years, he isn't getting any. Well, that's certainly a reason to be pretty annoyed. 2, he's discovering all this shady stuff going on with the finances, the tax returns, all that, all this money he didn't know about, stuff like that. And last but not least, he found a stash of underwear, spicy underwear, lingerie he's never seen before. All these things together, it's time to get out of there. And I've been going to go over here, guys, to show you that when there's smoke, there's fire. When there's red flags, pay attention to them, and you got to take action. But also, I want to mention that in this story, he mentions later on, in response to the comments, his wife comes from a wealthy family, a lot of freaking money, which will kind of explain a lot of things going on behind the scenes, as well as, let's just say that before they got together, she had a lot of very shady activity that none of you ever would have gotten involved with a girl like this. But this guy was pretty clueless and obviously, needs some work. But hopefully at the end of this, he will learn something as well as many of you. Says here, my wife, a 45-year-old female, and I, a 47-year-old male, have been married since 2019 and have 2 beautiful young boys. I gotta say it, how do you know they're yours? I hope they're yours, but you better check. We've been living in her father's house for years. I've handled most of the parenting while she works long hours as a TK teacher. So he's, as in they're living with the father, or just one of the father's homes that he owns, one of the properties. And she's bringing home the bacon. He's a stay-at-home dad. Uh-oh. For the past 2 years, we've barely been intimate. I've tried to connect emotionally and physically many times, 50 to 100 attempts to initiate sex, and I was shut down. No affection, no touch, nothing. It's been a dead marriage, and I've been preparing mentally for separation for a long time. I don't know about you guys, but if you're with a gal or you're married and you're not getting any for 2 freaking years, and unless you're so old that you don't have anything left in you, but if you got some lead in your pencil and you want to hook up, you're not getting any, goodbye. Meanwhile, she's claimed to be overwhelmed, needing space and not knowing what she wants, saying she hasn't had time to cry. She said she's not ready for divorce, but she wants a trial separation and isn't done with the marriage, but it all feels like manipulation. You bet your ass it's manipulation. If she ain't getting it from you, she's getting it someplace else. Guaranteed. And given her track record, which I found out later on, as well as the proof he finds, it's obvious. What pushed me over the edge? He says, a few months ago, I discovered nearly $1 million in capital gains on our 2022 tax return. My CPA told me that there was likely $1.3 million over 5 years in community assets and over $120,000 in actual returns. Okay, $1 million in capital gains in 2022. What did she do? Buy thousands of shares in Nvidia in the summer of 2022 when all the tech stocks were down, and then sold right at the very end of the year after it popped after the whole, AI crap, Chat GPT thing came out. Yes, I remember because I own Nvidia. Seriously, and she hid all this from him. And how did he not know what's going on, guys? Newsflash! Smack to him. You're married, you file jointly, you need to study that return. Even if your wife goes to the tax preparer and handles that, well, number 1, you should be going along for that meeting. And 2, you need to get that return before you submit it to Uncle Sam. And you need to look at every page, line by line, see what's on there, see what you're signing, see what in the capital gains and all that type of thing. Find out what's going on there. Seriously. My sister-in-law is a licensed CPA, filed our taxes, and I never saw a penny of it. Your sister's your CPA, and you weren't talking more about it? Smack! Yeah, he's done some boneheaded things here. I know I was asleep at the wheel. It appears to have been funneled through me to benefit her family. She has never shared tax documents with me. I didn't even know we were getting five-figure tax returns over several years that she cashed without telling me. I got stonewalled, deflection, and more gaslighting when I confronted her. Well, man, okay, she's an a-hole and she's shady. And dude, I wouldn't put it past her to take your social security number and open credit cards and do all sorts of things. And maybe, what if she opened some accounts with your social security number and your name and she did shady activities? I mean, who knows what she could be doing, man? You guys, you need to understand what's going on with the finances. You know, she's your wife. You have a right to know about all those things because you filed jointly. I'm sure tax guys in there, tax lawyers, CPAs, accountants all agree with me. They're watching this. She also told me things like, maybe divorce would be good so I can get a break from the kids. And then denies even saying it. She's hired nannies against my wishes, manipulated decisions, and blamed me for everything. I spent years walking on eggshells. It has been a nightmare. I handle 80% of the parenting, and she just drops in when she feels like it. Well, this sounds to me like a guy who, obviously, although I'm sure he's a good guy, has had no balls and has not stood up for himself and laid down the law. And probably she married him because she needed her nice guy to get married. Maybe it was like to get an inheritance. She had to get married, so she's with this guy. Who knows? Or, God forbid, if these aren't his kids, she got pregnant by Chad Tyrone, married this guy because he was a sure thing, and she could walk all over him. I don't know. I feel bad for this guy, and I'm glad he's waking up, but still. Now to top it all off, while going through the laundry, I found a dozen G-strings. Including one with glitter and a crotch that literally says, "Kiss me." She's never worn anything like that for me in our entire relationship. Well, somebody's kissing those panties. G-strings, huh? And by the way, she's 45 and she's wearing G-strings. Okay, I'm going to assume she's keeping herself in pretty good shape, but still 45. Don't get me wrong. I've seen a lot of darn good-looking women in their 40s, but they really have to take care of themselves. They're wearing G-strings in their mid-40s. After having kids, I might add. She's never worn anything like that for me in our entire relationship. Most of the underwear looks like it belongs to someone who's going to hook up, not a stressed-out mom working 14-hour days with 5-year-olds. Bro, of course she's hooking up. If you're not hooking up, she's getting to someplace else. For 2 years, she has been back to work, and she leaves before our kids wake up around 5:30 in the morning to drive 40 minutes to her classroom. The bell rings at 9, and she comes home late after the kids are asleep, twice per week. To be fair, she was doing this with work before the kids, but she seems to be giddy and glowing. Yeah, because she's hooking up with Chad and Tyrone, or some teacher in the school. She wears makeup to work now, and she was shaven downstairs a few months ago, grown in now, and has been weirdly distant but polite. She's acted like nothing is happening, meaning she seems to not give a shit that we're toast and oddly happy about it. Well, look at her actions. You haven't barely hooked up in 2 years. You're practically begging for sex, but no fucking man would ever do. And of course she's giddy because has you take care of the kids. And obviously, she's got family. She's a teacher, but she's got family money. That's why hence all the transactions in the stock market and everything. And everything's great, and she's getting it on the side. But yet, obviously, she knows the things are winding down. But, bro, it's over. Take charge of your own life. Get rid of her. We're still technically married, but have been living like roommates for years and sleeping in different rooms. What the hell are you waiting for, man? After digging into our tax returns early this year, I had enough and have rented a new house and plan to move out soon. There you go. Take action. But now I can't shake the gut feeling that she's been cheating for a while, or at least emotionally checked out and lining up her next chapter while pretending to want a breather. That's how they work. Almost always they're going to find a new guy replacement, have fun with their replacement, build up the relationship, the replacement, and when the time is right, ditch the boyfriend, the husband, and go on to the replacement. And the guy's left scratching his head saying, huh? What happened? My questions are this. She's cheating, right? Dude, you're actually asking that question? Do I confront her before I move out? Do I even need to? Or do I just go forward, separation, and get my legal ducks in a row, custody, financial disclosures, and maybe a forensic accountant? And let her actions speak for themselves. I have a good, stable career in life. And life is good outside my shit marriage. Oh, okay, he's not a stay-at-home dad. He has his own fucking career. Good. No, you don't say anything to her. Talk to all your lawyers. Get your apartment or house ready. Obviously, you're going to rent in the beginning. All the things you got to do behind the scenes. Get a PI. Have the PI follow her. Get all the evidence you can get. All the damning evidence you can get on her. The dirt. Everything. And then go to your attorney. And then serve her. Don't get into a fight with her. Don't prepare for anything. Let her keep thinking that you're a freaking dumbass. Doesn't know what's going on. It can work. The saying, it takes a genius to act so dumb, will do that. I'm setting things up for the next phase to have my kids go to a school near where I live, 50-50 custody. I should have more, though. And then go all in on getting the 50% in community property. But the physical cheating hits different. Even if I'm still preparing to move on, I've been totally loyal. I believe you've been loyal because obviously you're a good guy. And a lot of good guys are loyal and they get cheated on. But who cares if she's cheating? At this point, it's over. Use it as a way to get a better deal. A reason to get rid of her. End of story. It sucks, yeah, but you're 47. You ain't dead yet. I'm trying to stay grounded for the sake of my kids, but this feels like being betrayal stacked on betrayal. Any insight or help would be helpful. So before I go into his responses to comments, holy crap, but this sounds like a lot of marriages. Now, again, all those transactions she was doing, his knowledge, even though he should have been checking the tax returns, well, he's entitled to it. And by the way, we give $1 million in capital gains in one single year. That's, obviously they're going to have to fork over a bunch of money to Uncle Sam before the end of the tax period by April 15th. And so how does he not see that those taxes being paid? And we're not talking just federal. He mentions he's in California in the comments. That's a whole other California capital. That's a lot of money going to Uncle Sam to taxes on those things. So how does he not know? But he was boneheaded for not paying attention to that, the returns, everything. But anyhow, the profits after the taxes, he's entitled to some of that. But he definitely needs a forensic accountant to go through everything. Now, some more comments he has about his situation. And again, this guy's going to the lawyers. He's done. He makes that clear later on. He says, thank you, yes. I've gotten all the returns, hired a CPA to go through them, and I've consulted with numerous attorneys, all of whom said to hire a forensic accountant. I've not retained a lawyer yet, but I will do this summer. Get a freaking lawyer. I'm glad he's talking to lawyers, because that means she can't go to them. My wife's family is shit rich, and they've been doing some wild things with selling stocks, etc., post-COVID, which is all showing up in the returns. I have everything documented. I've been planning my exit for some time. It's just a physical thing hits differently. Let it go about the physical thing. Move on. Fight hard. Be smart. Fight for your kids. And find out if they are your kids. I live in California, and I do not believe I can record conversations, etc. And I agree she bailed years ago and has kept me around to do the work of the house, nanny, etc. I'm out and will build a far better life in the next phase. Getting through the divorce will be tough and expensive, though. Ugh. Yeah, it ain't going to be pretty. But you know what? If she has all this money and it's not protected by a prenup, well, obviously not, because all these transactions were going on in your name during your marriage. So you're entitled to some of that money. Absolutely. And California will see it that way. Another one says, he says, thanks. I've been given advice from numerous attorneys to leave my house. I live in California, and they have each given me a structure for how to do it. And I'm doing it, mainly because I need to get my 5-year-old enrolled in school, and living in this house is quite literally killing me. My wife and I have had an agreed-upon in writing 50-50 plan for now. But your point about spousal abandonment is a good one, and one I'm preparing to hear when this goes to court. Another thing he says is, yes, I'm being quiet about it, but I've been building my case for some time. I will retain a lawyer this summer and start the process. If you're interviewing lawyers, dude, pick one now. There's absolutely no love, and it sucks as I do still love her and the idea of our family, but I know it's dead and time to take care of myself and the kids. Yes, take care of you and the kids. You two ain't happening. Who cares if she's cheating? Who cares if it went downhill? I know you're heartbroken. I'm sorry for that, but now you got to put on your big boy pants, if you will. Take care of you. Take care of the kids. Another one says, thanks. I'll hire a forensic accountant this summer to go through everything and determine if there's anything illegal. My CPA suggests I am entitled to half the $1.3 million that is all over my tax returns, and I'm doing what I can to keep her in the dark and follow my attorney's advice. Focused on moving out in the immediate time frame by having a plan for the summer. I appreciate your advice. So is that $1.3 million over a few years, is that after taxes or before taxes? If it's before taxes, it's going to be a much smaller number. He also says, I totally agree with you. She's cheating for sure. Honestly, I'm so stupid. When we first started dating, we were intimate on our second date. She had a man living in her house. She was sleeping with him for a month or two while we were dating and sleeping together. Smack! I should have smacked him before. That ain't girlfriend material, man. A guy living in her house while you're dating her and she's sleeping with both of you? Come on, dude. She can't have been that good looking. What the fuck happens to self-respect? And you were surprised this is happening? She finally told me, and I was not amused. She then kicked the guy out of the house for me, and I moved in. You moved into her place and her turf? Smack! Look what happens. Don't ever do that, guys. What an idiot I am. Now I'm that guy, but also the father of her boys and her husband, but those are just details. So he knows he fucked up. I'll give him credit. And last one, because there's lots of comments about a situation. Great advice, behaving as normally as possible. I've been trying to do that for the past 4 months, and I have been gearing up for this. It's hard. I have slipped up a bit in letting her know I know quite a bit about the financial stuff. She has demanded I sign papers to not go after her family money. Don't sign anything. But that shit was on my tax returns, it's community property, and I was totally liable for it. Anyway, just trying to do business as usual and take care of my kids and work, and I appreciate the advice. She totally is that kind of person. Brother, my God, you need to get out of there. Choose your official attorney after lots of interviewing attorneys. Get the CPA, get all the dirt you can on her, and move on. And be prepared for war. And God, I hope she hasn't taken his social security number and opened up accounts and done this and that and put things in his name and hopefully and done illegal shit. Who knows what she's capable of, My God. But anyhow, guys, there you go. You push too far, you go to the mattresses, you go to war. And he can't back down. It ain't going to be pretty. And with that family money, I guarantee you they're going to help her. Oh, it's going to be an uphill battle. But you know what? All that money that's been happening and going through their accounts and everything, post-marriage, he's entitled to some of that money, abso-freaking-lutely. And I hope he takes her to the cleaners, but it is going to be a fight. So there you go, guys. You pay attention to red flags, you act on it, and for God's sakes, don't get involved with women that you're dating them and they have some guy living in the house with them and she's hooking up with both people. Now, sadly, nowadays, women typically date and they'll have other guys they're hooking up with, and whether you know it or not, but still the point is, what he knew, he should never gotten with her after that. But anyhow, he's learned, he's done. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you find a good story, definitely send it my way. strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And if it's a good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.